In 2020, I designed a 117-page expansion for D&D 5th edition. It was just something for me and my friends to play, something to make the game a bit more exciting. And after years of playing, one of my friends said to me, "There's enough here. It could be its own game." Flash forward to 4 long years later, and the summit is finally in view. What if there was more customization? What if you weren't stuck to a single class? What if you could respond? What if you could design spells on the spot? What if there was no maximum spells on the spot? What if there was a game where you could play anything, be anybody, no limitations, no questions asked? I'm happy to finally say it. Welcome to Utopia. If you haven't played Utopia TTRPG and you're interested in learning, make sure to check out my last video, link in the description. Speaking of that, in my last video, I asked, is it the most customizable TTRPG ever made? Bold statement, trust me, I know. And luckily, everybody agreed. Okay, not everybody. Okay, yes, I know GURPS is a thing. But in my defense, there is a lot in that video I glossed over for the sake of learning and how the game works. And a lot of people critiqued, understandably saying that they can't see where the customization comes from. So let's dive into it. See how customizable Utopia really gets. This is one of the main critiques I received from my last video, while claiming its versatility. The species is an immediate railroad. Now let me go ahead and clear the water with this one. In Utopia TTRPG, the first thing you do is decide what species you're going to play. Now I need to clarify, this really doesn't impact your character much. I know that may sound wild, so let me explain. What species you play as will give you a handful of things. A talent tree, the amount that your total pool of stamina and health scale, and what subtraits you're gifted in. However, the actual species portion of your species is almost entirely flavor. That talent tree is only one of 7, and the other 6 are a part of the main game regardless of what you play. Not to mention, they're all about twice as large as a species tree. Those health and stamina scaling perks sound pretty huge, and ultimately they are. Although, there are plenty of ways in the core game in which you can raise those values to have the exact same scaling as any other species, if not better. The gifted subtraits? Well, you can take talents that do that, not to mention a handful of species just pick them outright. To really drive home this point, let's play without a species at all. A lot of other games that Utopia has been compared to in this aspect don't have one, so let's try it. First of all, we won't have a talent tree. That's fine. Honestly, we don't really need one. It's just an additional asset you can use if you wish to. What about Constitution, Endurance, and Effervescence? These are stats that decide how much HP and stamina you have. Well, we can just use the game's average. 4 Constitution, 5 Endurance, 3 Effervescence. Or, if we want to get even more customizable, we can just give you a sum of 12 total points and make 2 the lowest any can go. At the most radical, we'll have a 2, an 8, and a 2 in whatever order you choose. At the most generic, we'll have each be 4. Those all work totally fine. And finally, we'll take the generic option of choosing 2 subtraits to be gifted in. With that, we can start playing Utopia. You choose talents from among the 6 core talent trees. Take your specialist talent while removing the species talents, and you're off to the races. Or lack of races, I guess? Now, I will say, it's really easy to design a species to your liking as well. Using everything we said before, we just have to give it a talent tree. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments. I have a lot of things I'd love to talk about when it comes to this system. But for now, let's talk about everything after that point. When you start the game, you'll have 10 total talent points. When you use these points to acquire talents, it will increase your body score, your mind score, and your soul score, depending on what talent you took. For instance, the creator talent just gives you 9 mind and allows you to craft mythical items. Influential, on the other hand, costs 7 soul and allows you to give boosts to other people's tests. These body, mind, and soul points are really important to know. They decide the maximum scores of your subtraits. Specifically, your speed, dexterity, power, and fortitude can't go beyond your body score. Your mental subtraits can't go higher than your mind score, and your social subtraits can't go higher than your soul score. Some have asked me, doesn't it feel a little redundant to base a stat off another stat? My answer, no, it's very important. And let me explain why. If you were able to raise any of your subtraits in any fashion you wish, you could raise your power to, let's say, 12 at level 10 without much issue. That's a +8 modifier to your power. Now at that point, you can take a bunch of spellcasting talents and suddenly you have a wizard that could actually punch through a brick wall. What the system does is make you choose. You're free to customize your character to your liking, but you will be required to match your stats to what your character would actually be good at. This creates some really interesting dilemmas for players. Do you want to cast some crazy powerful spells as fast as possible? You're going to have a very low SHP since most of the spell talents have no body points in them. This means that the wizard has low strength, low HP, but super high stamina since that's what's needed for spellcasting, as well as very high mind stats. But if we wanted to get into battle casting, we totally can. With our next few levels, we can move down the warfare tree, giving us some more weapon-based combat talents. This will raise our body score a bit, giving us access to higher strength and speed stats. And if we wanted to get really spicy, we could grab some social talents with our next levels. These allow us to work with different languages much better, mimic other creatures, disguise ourselves, and all around support our party members. And we'll raise our soul score and... oops, we made a balanced character by accident. This series of selections is an example of how you can have your character evolve over time, and without a lot of math and crazy calculations that may be required in a complex system. It may seem redundant at first, but I promise each number on this character sheet is here for a reason. As you level up, you can choose to take some warfare talents, some evasion, then some magecraft, and some social stats. Or you can hardline bigger bonk until you are, in fact, the biggest bonk. And this leads into another thing I want to clarify. Utopia is not a combat-focused game. It can be, for sure, but it doesn't have to be. One tree is for combat specifically out of the 6. This is the warfare tree. Magecraft is for spells, innovation is for tinkering and crafting specifically. Influence is for support and social buffs. Prowess is for generically better basic functions such as movement and health scaling, and tactics is for better evasion. Does this mean that you can only synergize if you can go down the same tree? Not at all. Warcasters are very strong, and so are Tinkerer DPS builds, just like Bardic Rogues, and so on. Everybody has a spot and a strength, and this system allows you to truly explore your imagination. Now, let's finally get to the point of the video. Let's talk about the big question. Let's talk about GURPS. Before I continue, I owe you a thank you. 2 weeks ago, I posted this on Kickstarter with big eyes and high hopes, but man was I ready to be crushed. This project has been stuck behind my eyes for so long, and I thought that if we tried really hard, put a lot of effort and work into it, we could just skeet past that finish line in 30 days. Or that, no, I'm cool with that too, yeah. Seriously, I cannot thank you enough times for the wonderful words I've received, the admiration, the hype, all of the theory crafting happening in the Discord. There's still some time to pre-order the book if you want, and I cannot stress this enough, it's okay if you're not in a position to do so. If you like the project, download the prototype for free and get to playing. If you're curious about wording, or if you're just looking for a group to play with, join the Discord. The link will be below for you. You guys are so amazing, and honestly, this has been a dream come true. Alright, now that that's finally off my chest, time to get waffle stomped in the comments while I talk about GURPS. GURPS is an extremely powerful system. Virtually every single thing in that game is customizable, and to a high extent as well. It doesn't just have no level cap, but it has no level at all. The biggest downside I hear about with GURPS is the amount of setup time and calculations. This is the result for a reason, and a lot of people love it for this exact reason. It puts mechanics to anything you can imagine. Mechanical imagination costs calculations. So then comes the big question. Is Utopia TTRPG as versatile as GURPS? No, not really. However, this system traded those functions out on purpose. Not to say that one system is better than another, that's for you to decide which you prefer. Utopia is extremely expandable and unlimited within the confines of being easy to pick up, easy to learn, and get started to play. If you don't believe me, join the Discord. I'm so serious. There are so many people who picked up the manuscript, read it over a couple of hours, and can answer questions as well as I can. Utopia's design is based around a low barrier to entry but a high skill ceiling. As high as GURPS, chances are abysmal. But even then, you can create any item, feature by feature, and craft it in-game using just the core rules as they're written. You can do the same for spells, and cast them on the fly. This is good for min-maxers, casual players, thematic players. I have seen every walk of life and every playstyle in the Discord playing, and they're all having fun. Together. Perhaps there's limitations in simplicity, but it leaves a lot of room for you to be able to inject your ideas into a world and give you amazing bases to work from. But hey, if you disagree with anything I'm saying here, tell me about it. It's free to download the prototype, so click on something in the description while you're there. It really does mean a lot. I want to be clear with how insanely grateful I am to each and every person who has shared, constructively critiqued, backed the Kickstarter, joined the Discord, shared a video, even just told their friend. This whole experience really has been a dream come true, and it's so exciting to see it go from a little backyard shenanigan to a real idea. Like, really real. I'm just one guy who worked on this for a long time. Like thousands of hours. I have amazing illustrators, awesome playtesters, and wonderful graphic designers who have helped build some of these pages and pull out some of the work. But for about 3 of the 4 years, I was completely solo. I started when I was 20 years old, and now I'm 24. Slowly building a team of people who are passionate and interested in seeing this through to the end. I know I literally say this at the end of every video, but it really holds a new meaning for me this time around. Thanks.